Well, hello everyone. I'm Sophie Griffiths, editor of TTG, and I am thrilled today to be joined here by Natalie Smith, UK account manager at Via Rail, and Josephine Wash, senior international sales manager at Via Rail. So today we are going to be finding all about Via Rail, who they are, the fantastic Canadian experiences that customers can experience with them, as well as their onboard offering in terms of accommodation and dining, and any marketing tips and advice and pieces of advice that Via Rail is doing to support agents right now. So let's kick off. To begin with, can you tell us more about Via Rail, what it is, who it is? Is it Via Rail? Is it Via Rail? Am I saying it correctly?
It's Via Rail, that's right. And we are Canada's national railroad system. So basically we travel right across the country on a year-round basis. We can take clients from coast to coast, and we can take you as far north as Churchill on the Hudson's Bay.
Oh, wow. So who typically travels on Via Rail? Is it Canadians as well as tourists, or is it much more of a tourist offering?
No, it's mostly Canadians. That's who we service first and foremost. But the UK market is our second largest international market. And so Natalie's going to tell you a little bit more about who that UK client is.
Yeah, so we get a massive mixture of people traveling on board with Via Rail, everything from solo travelers to couples to families to big groups. Our main core demographic would be 45 plus.
Okay.
In the last few years, we've seen quite an increase on people traveling with us that are kind of celebrating a big birthday, anniversary, or maybe retirement. And those trips generally are longer trips than we've previously seen, so 3+ weeks generally.
Okay, and what kind of budget would we be looking at for clients that want to travel with Via Rail?
So that really actually depends, Sophie, on what route you're traveling on. In our corridor service between Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, you can get a ticket on Via Rail for as little as, say, £15. If you choose to travel with us on one of our long haul journeys, which is several nights and days on board the train, you can pay upwards of £3,500 to travel with us in our luxurious prestige class. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so you said several nights. What are we looking at? Sort of a week long or 4 nights or?
Our highlighted trip is called the Canadian, and it is from Toronto to Jasper and Vancouver. And that basically is 4 nights and 4 days. So it's really a cruise on rails experience.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. And then the £15 tickets that you mentioned, how long would they be for?
You know what, when you're in the corridor area, typically Toronto to Ottawa is 2 hours, 2.5 hours, but you can go from Toronto to Kingston. So those could be anywhere from an hour to 5 hours between Toronto and Montreal. And we price very much like an airline. So we always sort of have seat sales and a discounted fare. And then if you want more flexibility with changing cancellation policies, then you're going into our higher full fare range.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. And in terms of the best time of year to board with Via Rail, when would you guys recommend?
I always say it depends on what else you want to do while you're there, because obviously, and also the places that you're going to, because different areas in Canada will be high season or better to travel to, depending on what you want to do while you're there. That's what I always give advice about.
So year-round offering.
Yeah, and winter is a fantastic time to travel with us. It's less busy, and we have more Canadians on the trains that travel at that time. So if you're looking for some unique interaction with the Canadians, it's a good time to travel with us. And the landscape out the window is beautiful because it's that winter white wonderland magical look all along. Though lots of people, of course, like to travel with us in the summertime, especially if they're going to the mountains, because this gives them a chance to see wildlife. And the Maritimes, it's always a good time to travel to into summer and fall.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, you said about winter times, because I was picturing this sort of being lots and lots of snow. This is Canada, right? So, but presumably the trains still run through the snow?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it's a lot safer than renting a car because, of course, we do the driving for you. So you don't have to put up with those winter driving conditions, and you're nice and cozy inside the train. And yeah, there's just this magical winter landscape outside.
Oh, fantastic. And you mentioned about the wildlife if you travel in summer. Are you able to get a hint of what kind of wildlife? Are we talking bears? Are we talking moose?
Yeah, bears, moose, exactly. That's right. All of those, usually not together though. No. So bears in Western Canada, definitely grizzly bears, black bears, especially when you take our Skeena route, which goes north from Jasper to Prince George to Prince Rupert. And then elk, deer are year-round animals that you'll see with us. Moose, yes, more popular in Eastern Canada when you're traveling across Manitoba, Ontario. Lots of birds. Everybody forgets about the birds. They're really nice. And of course, on our long haul trains, you are on both daytime and nighttime. So the sunrise and the sunset sceneries are amazing also. And I can't promise it on every trip, but there is the chance to see Aurora Borealis from some of our trains also.
Wow.
I've been lucky enough to see that myself. So
have you? Wow. And you able to say which route that was on?
You know what, you can see it on the Canadian route because coming into Jasper and then across Northern Ontario, we're far enough north for that to happen. But one of the best routes for the Aurora is our Churchill route, which goes from Winnipeg to Thompson to Churchill, and then you're much further north. And prime time for Aurora viewing there would be February and March. And then the community of Churchill also does lots of programming and lots of opportunities to see Aurora up there.
Fantastic. And you mentioned the sunsets and the sunrises, and we have one in your screen behind you.
Yeah, that's right.
One prepared earlier.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've kind of answered this next point, but my question next is going to be, what are Via Rail's unique selling points in addition to everything you've just said?
Yeah. Well, you know, the fact that we go right across the country on a year-round basis means that you're always going to have an option to add some train into your programs when you're selling to your clients. And it can be a short trip just between the inner cities, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, again, the easiest way to travel. People often combine our long haul routes with the cruise product because, of course, taking an Alaska cruise is very popular, and cruise out of the East Coast, Halifax or Quebec City also. So when you land in Toronto to take the train out to Vancouver, we're basically considered a cruise on rails experience because you are sleeping on board, you're eating in the dining cars, there's the glass dome carriages. So you would then combine that with a cruise once you get to Vancouver. It's always a great way to get over jet lag also, because of course, when you arrive from the UK, everybody has those first 2 or 3 days where you're not, feeling 100%. So if you have a client who has spent some time in Toronto before and doesn't want to spend extra time there, but wants to come out for the cruise or to explore Western Canada, if you arrive the day before, you can hop on the train the next morning, which is 9 a.m. And you now have at least 3 nights, 3 days to just kick back and relax, sleep. All your meals are cooked for you. The pub's open, on board, so you can go and have a drink and chat with the other guests. And there's really nothing you have to do. So when you arrive into Western Canada, you're revitalized and all ready to go.
This sounds fantastic. I mean, you mentioned the onboard pub. I think you said the pub, right?
Lounge. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're Brits. We like the pub. Talk to us about the onboard experience then, the accommodation, the pub.
Yeah, Nellie is going to tell you a little bit more about that one.
Yeah, so obviously it depends on what type of train we're on. So on our long haul journeys, the one you sleep on board, we've got lots of different lounge cars throughout the train. Most of those have an observation dome above them, so you can go up there, look at the landscapes you're going through. At night time, it's great for looking at the stars as well, especially when you're going across the prairies because there's no light pollution. We've also got dining cars where you can go get your dinner and lunch and breakfast. We've also got various different sleeping accommodations, so anything from a semi-private berth to cabins for 1 and 2, which have a private toilet and wash basin, and then there's a shower with a lockable dressing area in every carriage. And then on the Canadian, we have the Prestige class, which is a bigger bedroom, which has a double bed in, also has its own shower, TV loaded with TV programs and films, and a stocked minibar as well. So there's lots of places to go. Sometimes we have musicians on board our trains that talks about the areas we're going through. So there's lots of people to talk to, things to do.
Incredible. I can see why it's called a cruise on rails, because it's it's a similar product. It's fantastic. And just talk to us a little bit more about the network. I mean, you mentioned about going sort of east to west and north to south. Talk to us about some of the more popular departure points and joining points.
Yep. So obviously, because we're the public rail network, we cover the entire country. So there's endless opportunities of the ways you can use our network. So for example, if we're starting in the East Coast, we've got the Ocean Train, which on the map is the pale blue route that travels between Halifax in Nova Scotia, through the province of New Brunswick and through to Montreal in Quebec. That journey takes 21 hours. That's one night on board the train. So that is one of the trains that we have sleeping accommodation on, and the lounge and dining car, like I said before. We've also got the corridor service, which on the map is the purple line. That's basically the intercity service that connects all the major cities, and it's probably the most like anything we have in this country, but it is a lot better, I can say that. That connects like Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and Quebec City, and those trains go numerous times a day, every day. As Josephine said, our flagship train is the Canadian, so that's the red route on the map that travels between Toronto and Vancouver, but it also goes through some of the other major cities in Canada. So you've got Winnipeg, Saskatoon, Edmonton, and Jasper. So you can do the whole journey, you can do just a small section of that journey, and you can break your journey along the way as well. So you can actually get out and explore the areas that you're going through. The yellow route on our map, that's our train for mountain scenery, which Josephine mentioned earlier. So you get one day in the Rocky Mountains, and then you overnight in a hotel, and then you have the other day in the coastal mountain ranges in northern BC. And that train's quite often called the Skeena train because it follows the Skeena River, and that's very much a local train because for some of those people, there's no other way in or out. It's just the rail, and it serves small communities like 10 people. It's very, very much a local train, and there's lots of interesting characters to meet on that train. And then the other train that's really, really popular for certain times of the year from people traveling from the UK is the Winnipeg to Churchill, as Josephine mentioned. July is popular for going to see the beluga whales up in Churchill, and then end of October, November for polar bears. So there's lots of different options depending on what you want to do. If you want to go city breaks, if you want to see wildlife, there's loads of different options for you if you use them.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically answered my next question, which was about what are some of the most exciting and authentic Canadian experiences visitors can access to via rail. But I think seeing polar bears or the Aurora Borealis is pretty high up there. Are there any other, things that agents should make a note of, like really unique experiences that it can offer clients?
Yeah, with the train, you can also access a lot of our national parks along the way. And of course, if you're on a journey, you can step off, enjoy those areas, and then come back again. So basically take a break too, right? So again, a means of transportation to get to all these interesting places within Canada. And of course, then the experience on board is part of the highlight also.
Yeah.
We have access to some of our First Nations experiences also via the train, especially somewhere precious like Wanaskewin in Saskatoon, where you would get off. And then that First Nations experience is only half an hour away, and there is a transfer from the station to the First Nation experience. That's just one example. Winnipeg also has some really great experiences. What else? Yeah, can be very quickly from city center to city center, those longer routes, those more lesser known areas. Yeah.
Brilliant. And just back to the onboard experience, I was going to ask about the food. What's the dining like there for customers?
So with the dining experience, of course, the Canadian train is the highlight for the culinary enjoyment of people. And the food is really, really good. It's actually chefs on board the train who cook everything fresh on the kitchen, also located on the train.
Wow.
The dining car is set formally with linen and the silver and the china. It's seated in parties of 4. So if you're traveling by yourself or traveling as a couple, you will have the chance to meet other people on board the train during your dining experience. Mm-hmm. Breakfast is typical Canadian, big breakfast, maple syrup, pancakes, bacon, whatever you like. And you come whenever you want to breakfast. We start at 6 in the morning till I think 9 o'clock. And then lunch and dinner are a 3-course affair. It's at a seated time, and there's several seatings throughout the day, of course. And this is where the chefs prepare all the food, and they theme it to the part of the country that we're traveling through also. So salmon is going to be featured in BC. Alberta, of course, will have some good beef or some bison along the way, and thus along, On our other services, it's sometimes cooked fresh on board, like the Churchill route, but it's not the chef high level quality. So then we're talking more like pot roast, pastas. We always have a vegetarian choice on board, and that vegetarian choice is vegan also. So we can accommodate food requirements, no problem. And then in the corridor area and the ocean train, The food service is very much like a high-end business class service on your airline. So it's food that is prepared beforehand and heated, added to, and then presented, but it's always a highlight.
So
and of course, when you're on the trains, dessert has no calories, so you can have it.
That's a fact.
That's right.
Fact. So an array of food then and various different offerings. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And do you have any product or network developments in the pipeline at all that agents should be aware of?
Yeah, Canada being a big country, usually we don't have new rail product to talk about, but we do have a new fleet coming to our corridor service. So we will start to see these trains in 2023. And this is the service between Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, and Quebec City. It's being built by Siemens, so it's very much like a European style train. And it's just going to mean faster trains, more accessibility, more frequent offerings on the route. So better choice. And of course, as these trains are new, much more friendly environmentally also.
Yeah, sure. So from 2023, we'll see.
From 2023 will be the debut, and then that moves on to 2024. And if anybody wants to see a little clip, if they go to our website, they will see the photo of the new train arriving into Canada. It's very exciting.
Oh, fantastic. All right, brilliant. And that's viarail.com?
Yearround.ca.
.ca, of course it is. So moving on to agents then, what marketing advice do you have for agents selling or looking to sell via rail? What top tips would you offer to the UK trade?
I would say the opportunities to incorporate Veer in a Canadian holiday are endless. As I said before, there's everything from the multi-city breaks to the longer durations. It's a unique experience. You've got all the different changing landscapes as you go across lakes, forests, prairies, the mountains. So there's so many different options. Being the public rail network, you can pick and choose where and when your clients are going to get on and off the trains. There's a lot more flexibility than, for example, maybe the private trains, because they are set itineraries. So that's a great option for you. Usually, I would say we have two very different types of clients. We have the clients that are doing the journey for the experience. That's a bucket list item for them, and they're going to do the train. But then you also have the other type of people that are looking to use it as a mode of transport. It's an easy way for them to get between the various places in Canada, and it's just an added bonus that they're going through all these spectacular environments and getting to see a lot as they go along. So there's two very different types of client, and I think once you understand what type of client you're talking to, then you can decide exactly what to use to close the sale.
Okay, because I was going to ask what kind of selling tips you would offer, but I guess that would be the top tip, right? Decide whether it's a bucket list experience or just a different way of getting around Canada.
Yeah. And just that idea of, combining the cruise on rails along with the jet lag, also more interest in traveling environmentally friendly, right? And also we should mention too that majority of our train services are wheelchair accessible. So if you have a client that has those needs, that includes our Canadian long haul train and our ocean overnight train. We have a wheelchair accessible bedroom. So a client can go right across the country with Via Rail.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that's really important to hear. Brilliant. And what about any additional training opportunities for agents or any fan trips being run at all? I'm assuming, over the last year, everything's been locked down. But as we sort of move forward into the light, as travel restarts, are there any opportunities for agents there at all?
Yep, so I'm here in the UK. I work full-time on Yearround, so I'm always around to answer any product queries, help with product development, any marketing. I can offer additional training, that's no issue. We can do anything from presentations to fun and innovative games and activities. We also have a course with online travel training, so agents can go and have a look at that. And then we also work with a lot of operators to offer fan trips as well. So there's lots of different opportunities.
Fantastic. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. And any competitions or booking incentives that the trade should be aware of at all?
We obviously have a competition with TTG on the hub,
yep.
Which is launching on the 1st of November until the 15th of December. And that's basically all you have to do is take the course on online travel training and you'll be entered into a prize draw. We also have a few other things in the pipeline. Currently, we've got a booking incentive with first class holidays, but there are more things to come over the next kind of year to 18 months as well.
Great. So watch this space.
Watch this space indeed.
And is there anything else that you think agents really need to know about Via Rail to sell it right now?
I would just say, you know, we're really looking forward to having all of you from the UK come over and visit us again. And of course, travel on the trains when you come here. So please do. Again, the options are endless year round. So you can always fit a little bit of train into the itinerary. Just recent news, though, is that it was announced last week that everybody working on a Via Rail train in their station on board the train will be completely vaccinated, as will all of our guests traveling with us. And that's starting as of basically November 1st of 2021. So anyone coming to travel with us can know that we have a safe environment to travel.
Fantastic. Okay, so guests need to be fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
And
yes,
all
that's
staff
right.
as well. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And if presumably if a guest can't get vaccinated for a medical reason, presumably there is a
there would be the exceptions for that, and it will be outlined. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Fantastic.
And of course, Natalie is available to everyone, as she said, to help with whatever needs assistance. And it's great to have her on the ground in the UK. And again, I take the train myself often. It's one of the favorite things that I like to do, especially I live in Vancouver. So just the quick trip to Vancouver to Jasper year round is a great trip. I have no hesitation to just say, come on over and travel with us. It's a great experience.
Oh, fantastic. And Josephine, what kind of distance would that be from Vancouver to Jasper? How long would that journey be?
It's 17 hours. We board at 3 p.m. in the afternoon and we arrive the next day at 11 a.m. So it is an overnight journey. And we always see the mountains during daylight hours, whether it's winter or summertime. You do not miss that great view that you see behind me here. And of course, you can enjoy that from the glass dome carriage that you see there, or from your bedroom also, dining car. Always great places to see the views.
So, yeah. So those mountains behind you, they're on their journey from Vancouver to Jasper. Is that the Rockies?
Yes, it is. That's right. Yeah.
Ah, fantastic. So you can see sunsets like that.
That's right. And sunrise if you're an early person. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much to both of you. And thank you for everybody to watching. Don't forget to check out the Destination Canada Hub and on ttgmedia.com for all of your educational content in Canada, and of course, viarail.ca. But thank you very much to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.